And I was going to freak everybody out and go, oh man, I wish I'd been recording this, but I did record it.
Wow.
All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Okay. Article 6, membership meetings. 6.1.1, the regular meeting of members shall be held on the second Tuesday of each month at a time and place specified by the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors may change the date, place, and or time of the meeting to coincide with special programs or occasions, and must notify the membership of the change via electronic email at least 1 day prior to the meeting date. 6.1.2, all dark meetings and events may be recorded and published. 6.2, quorum. 6.2.1, the members attending each meeting shall constitute a quorum for transaction of business, a majority rule. 6.3, special meetings.
Hey, what is that? What essentially does that mean? I mean,
majority rule.
Usually the quorum is like 2/3 or 3/4. So,
well,
quorum just means the minimum required to pass a motion. Essentially, there are some places that define what a minimum quorum assembly is, though.
So we're just saying that since we're having a meeting and we have members that are attending, then that shall be sufficient to conduct business.
Right. Because the thing to keep in mind there is, if we were to say we needed, like 3/4 of the members to have a quorum, well, heck, we've got hundreds of members that, that are on our roll, maybe not hundreds, but we've got a large number of members that are on our roll that don't actually even come to the meetings. So that would,
right.
that
basically
would be hard.
Mike, that with Robert's rules, having a quorum protects the minority, and that's the whole point about Robert's Rules of Order, is that the majority is going to have their way, the majority rules, but the rights of the minority members are still protected in a sense. So, like, that's why there's like different motions for like appeal or point of order, and there's all kinds of other motions that allow folks who vote in the minority to kind of have a chance to make sure that they get what they need to say said.
The minority can have a say, but they can't overrule the majority.
Mm-hmm. And a quorum makes sure that you don't have because what you don't want to do is, one year get a group of folks in there who want to be slick and try to get something by on the club and set a meeting for the club and not say anything about it. And then you've got 10 people voting on new bylaws or something like that at a meeting that wasn't advertised. So quorum makes sure that you have enough people there to do that.
I just wanted to understand what our definition of a quorum was. So it's just whatever the members are, we will conduct business.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good. We can move on.
All right. 6.3.1, special meetings may be called by the president at any time by a request of at least 5 members of the DARC. Notification shall be as outlined in section 6.1.1. 6.4, electronic meetings. 6.4.1, the board of directors may, in its sole discretion, determine that any meeting of the members shall not be held at any place, but may instead be held solely by means of electronic communication. Participation in a meeting held by electronic communication shall constitute presence in person at the meeting for all purposes, including quorum and voting.
Okay.
Guess they knew about COVID way back then, huh?
Well, we covered this a couple meetings ago. That may have been one that you weren't at, because we had jumped down to address the electronic meetings for that very reason, for COVID. And
I think we added that, yeah, but that was
Mhm.
one of the main reasons why we wanted to update the bylaws.
All right. Article 7, dark committees. 7.1, committees. 7.1.1, all committees, both standing and interim, are expected to operate and to serve the dark in a manner consistent with the stated purpose of the dark as specified in Article 1 of these bylaws. 7.1.2, all committee chairpersons serve at the request and the pleasure of the dark president. 7.1.3, repeater committee. This committee shall be selected and chaired by the current trustee of W4BS.
Do we have any
Do we
current
need-
committees?
Why do we need current, just the trustee? If it's
I think-
passed, he's not the trustee.
Yeah, I think Barry and Rick Tillman are our current repeater committee, unofficial or not. Well, Barry
Do
official.
we have any other committees?
None right now.
None right now. I mean, in a lax way, we'll usually have a nominating committee later in the year. I don't know if we would actually say that, doing stuff for field day, some of that's committee type stuff, but those are the only things I can ever think of.
Okay.
All right. In this section, I think maybe Joe mentioned at a previous meeting that we need to get rid of some of this since we only technically have the one trustee. So this may be something we chunk a lot out of, but the club license trustees, Article 8, 8.1 requirements. 8.1.1, as required by Title 47, Part 97 of the FCC rules governing amateur radio, the dark shall designate licensed trustees to hold the licenses necessary to fully operate the various dark repeater systems. This article is intended to supplement the FCC rules, and should it be determined that this article is in conflict with FCC rules, the FCC rules will prevail. The licensed trust, yes.
Comma after rules, where it's underlined.
Oh, FCC rules, comma, and up
Yeah.
one line.
Up on line.
Oh.
There
Where
it
the
is.
blue line, yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. The licensed trustees are not to be confused with the DARK's Board of Directors trustee as defined in Section 5.12 of these bylaws.
There's not a board of directors trustee.
Yeah, so just get rid of the last sentence.
Eight point two, qualification. 8.2.1, each DARK licensed trustee shall be a member in good standing of the DARK and shall maintain a valid FCC amateur radio license. 8.2.2, in addition to the requirements of Section 8.1, the following requirements must be met. A, the trustee holding the primary DARK station license grant must hold the highest class license currently issued by the FCC. B, all other trustees of DARK repeater systems must hold the next higher license class than necessary for the frequencies and use for which the license is intended.
Is
Huh?
it really,
What is,
why would you have another trustee when you only have one call sign? And why would you want to have more than one call sign?
Well, do we,
in case they ever get another one, I guess.
Yeah,
This in
And
relation.
if we have another call sign, I would want them to have extra class license. Or the highest license class.
Right. So what changes them?
I don't even understand this.
Oh.
B.
So you're saying hold the, well, I mean, we could just make that simple and say hold the highest, class license currently issued and just have it for both.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't see a need for having a second trustee.
Only thing might be like say if somebody like say trustee had to take a leave of absence for some reason, would that be considered a second trustee if somebody filled in for him?
No, you have one trustee for a call sign and that's it. If he has to take a leave of absence, you change the trustee.
Change it. I was trying to think of any time we would have two.
So Barry is the trustee now for W4BS.
Yes.
mm,
We can check.
So do we have more than one repeater?
Yeah,
yeah,
we've got 6 or 7.
mm,
Yeah,
So
several repeaters.
is Barry the trustee for those as well?
Yeah,
Mm.
he's the trustee for the call sign. It's a trustee for the call sign, not the system.
yeah.
I got it. So W4BS could be 6 meters, it could be 10 meters, it could be
Oh, yeah.
anything.
Yep.
Okay.
But I don't get why they say the next higher license class than necessary for the frequencies in use. What if they're in the extra band already? What's the
I mean,
next
that's
higher?
the problem is you don't want to be in violation if somebody's using it other than the trustee. The only way it could do is if you were in the VHF, UHF range.
Well, yeah,
a
I understand that. Yeah.
Could be a trustee.
Mm.
But why would you want that when, if you're going to use that call sign? I think they were using the term trustee of the repeater system as the overseer of the physical equipment, not the call sign.
Mm,
Ah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Barry can that's a part that would be a part of the repeater
Committee.
not the trustee.
Not that, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I think eliminate B altogether.
Okay.
Well, do we need Article 7 altogether? Because this is club license trustees, and we've already covered the position of the trustee earlier in the bylaws.
Well, what if we moved like this under the trustee that's under the board of directors part, since that does mention the FCC rules, and then either
I would leave it
under,
leave it separate.
leave it separate.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be a confusion between board of director trustee or the call sign trustee. Where have we mentioned it before?
Well, I was thinking, I don't know. So how are they different? Because I thought the one on the board of directors was over the W4BS.
It is 501 12.3, so.
Yeah, we can eliminate 7.
So the committee.
Well, you can say
Or,
have it as a committee, just, the trustee is, may have a committee.
okay, so it's an optional.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'd just say the W4BS trustee. May appoint a committee. Capitalize W in W4BS.
All right, so the W4BS trustee may appoint a committee which shall be selected and chaired by the W4, well, selected would be,
Yeah.
which shall be chaired by the W4BS trustee.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then that would get delete B, correct?
Then you just have the following requirement, single.
Well, we could really just
Yeah, just
yeah,
collapse it into
get
a
rid of the
paragraph.
largest.
Yeah.
On the license, we need
Why
to
don't,
say,
why don't we just say have a valid, have the highest class valid FCC amateur radio license.
I was gonna say, do we need to add the word amateur in there? I mean, it's kind of implied, but
I thought that that was also covered in 5.12.
Well,
Am I misremembering that?
Probably right. All right.
but that's more
Yeah.
about the board and
Yeah, shall amateur extra class license or the current highest FCC amateur radio license.
So do we want to re-add it under Article 7 or
No, I don't think we need to.
Okay. or 8? I think we actually, okay.
All right. All right, so 8.2.1, each DARC licensed trustee shall be a member in good standing of the DARC and shall maintain the highest class license currently issued by the FCC.
why is this?
8.3,
Yeah, why is that 8.3.3?
trustee selection. 8.3.1.
But why isn't it just
Oh.
8?
I see what you're saying. Good catch. It's a good thing about reading the things. I know it's
It is.
Fine, but-
You're right.
those are easy to miss. So 8.3.1, in the event a licensed trustee of record no longer meets the requirements of this article or the licensed trustee is no longer willing or able to serve as licensed trustee, the DARC board shall select a new licensed trustee. The DARC secretary will ensure that all appropriate records are updated in accordance with FCC rules and regulations enforced at the time of selection.
I thought the president selected the trustee.
Yeah, so I guess in this case, this is just saying, do we want, if the trustee is no longer in in the middle of the year, do we want the president just to appoint a new one
Yeah,
instead of the board? I
Yeah,
mean,
the
they all kind of talk anyway.
Yeah, the president, I mean, the president selected initially anyway.
Yeah. And then this, we should probably make a note in the secretary section or change it to, well, I don't know. Let me go and look.
Yeah, because that's a new one to me.
Mhm.
well, all you do is look at the license call sign and see if the trustee is there.
Well, no, that's saying update. Like the secretary would actually do the updating.
You can't. The trustee has to do it.
So we should mention that then. Or
Yeah.
at least not have the secretary listed.
Right. The
Yeah,
secretary can ensure that it's done, but physically can't do it.
So if we,
Okay. So then
if we have a trustee that ends up, for whatever reason, they cannot update the records anymore, whether it be that they just won't, or that they physically cannot, how do we get the records updated? This it doesn't necessarily apply to the bylaws, but it's,
Yeah, because remember I had to do that when we switched from Bill to Barry. I think I can do it.
okay. Because I know you can
What
assign
are the appropriate records?
the FCC licensing database and I guess the ARRL.
You can go to the ARRL and they probably can get it changed.
Yeah, I think I was able to do it when we.
Because there's 4 different VEC groups that does the club call signs. And ARRL is one of them.
Yeah. I had to go through them. For some reason, I had to go through them for some reason.
can you just say the dark board?
All right. So, yeah, I think that'd be good because then whoever it needs to be.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. So 8.3.1, in the event a licensed trustee of record no longer meets the requirements of this article, or the licensed trustee is no longer willing or able to serve as licensed trustee, the DARC president shall select a new licensed trustee. The DARC board of directors will ensure that all appropriate records are updated in accordance with FCC rules and regulations enforced at the time of selection.
This one.
Fiscal Affairs, Article 9. 9.1, period of fiscal year. 9.1.1, the DARC fiscal year shall be from January 1 through December 31. 9.2, expenditures. 9.2.1, the board of directors shall, by majority vote when a quorum is present, have the authority to authorize the expenditure of any funds of the club. 9.2.2, the board of directors has no authority to assume any debt on the club's behalf. 9.3, depository. 9.3.1, the board of directors shall select a depository of club funds and shall determine the procedure of writing checks.
Well, is it club or DARC? Do we have a definition for club up in the beginning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we it's got.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. 9.4, adoption of the budget. 9.4.1, the treasurer, with the help of the board, shall prepare a proposed written budget for the upcoming calendar year by the December board meeting. 9.4.2, At the January board meeting, the status of the dark funds and the financial transactions of the past year will be reviewed. At this meeting, the board shall confirm a proposed written budget for the current calendar year. The proposed budget shall be published in the February dark newsletter. 9.4.3. This proposed budget will show the income and expenses for the past year, as well as the expected income and expenses for the current year.
I have a note, should it be after 5.4.6? Should it be in that 5.4.6?
Oh, well, this sends it to its own section.
Mhm.
So the treasurer shall prepare the budget according to
But you got
adoption.
so much other stuff the treasurer should do, why not put it in it?
I thought
I
we
don't know.
discussed that. I thought we went
Yeah,
over-
we did this one of the meetings before. Let's see.
for some reason, we decided we should have a separate fiscal section as well.
Well, I think because it's got so many different things, but let's see. And it might be, Joe, I think we kept it separately since we had changed it to where it's technically like the two different treasurers who are involved in the adoption and creation of the budget. So I think that may be why we kept it separate. Since
Okay,
it's the outgoing treasurer in the December presents a proposed budget, but then the new treasurer proposes, or, along with the board, confirms the new budget. So I think maybe that might be why we had kept it separately. Yeah, let's see. And this also allows it to cover the membership vote. So that'd probably be why, since it goes a little beyond, it goes more in depth past what the treasurer specifically does.
okay.
So,
Let's go on then.
all right. 9.4.3, this proposed budget will show the income and expenses for the past year, as well as the expected income and expenses for the current year. 9.4.4, the proposed budget shall be voted upon by the membership present at the February general membership meeting. The budget will be considered adopted by a simple majority vote of those members present. (9.5) Board discretionary spending authority. 9.5.1. The purpose of the board discretionary spending authority is to allow the dark board the ability to spend a limited amount of money without any prior approval as necessary to conduct the business of the dark. 9.5.2. The dark board shall have the authority to spend a limited amount of funds as they see fit in the normal conduct of the dark's business. 9.5.3. The specified amount of the board discretionary account shall be reviewed and revised as necessary at least annually at the board's January budget meeting. The board may review the account and make any necessary adjustments more often if it deems it appropriate.
Does that mean that any member of the board can spend that money without approval from other members of the board? I'm not sure with it, because we just read a part that said the board of directors will have the authority to spend any amount of money. We just read that a couple of sections above this. So.
Well,
It's
limited
this-
amount, but yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Should we make sure that should we
It's the
clarify?
whole board, it's the approval of the whole board or a majority of the board.
I was gonna say, I was gonna get in the gut feeling there's not enough control on that.
Yeah. Or if anything, we need to maybe clarify that It's the amount
I
determined
was
by
gonna
the
say,
budget.
we need to define limited or something.
Mm-hmm.
We either need to define limited or we need to put a control on who can do it.
Well, it says 953, the specific amount was reviewed and revised at least annually in the budget meeting. So I interpret that as it's set in the budgetary review with the treasurer and then approved by the membership in the following meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we've
It's a
usually got it.
discretionary amount in the budget.
Yeah, we've usually got it. And that's, we would just need to say limited to the amount in the budget or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, but if we have a problem that goes over $2,000, we have to,
Well, I think we had, we have to go to the club members anyway, I think.
yeah,
Isn't that what we had talked about?
right.
So do we just want to say spend a limited amount of money defined
According-
in 953? Or according to 953? Just so that we have a pointer there. Does that
Yeah.
fit what everybody's looking for? Because the other thing is if we do have an emergency that comes up and we need to spend more than what's in the discretionary budget line item, we can call an emergency meeting specifically for the purpose of the membership approving further funds if it's something that merits that.
But what was that sentence we passed in another section which said the board of directors are authorized to spend any amount of money? It was before this.
Mm,
It was before adoption of the budget.
Is it in 9.3 maybe, 9.2?
Hmm.
Oh, 9.2.1, when a quorum is present, have the authority to authorize the expenditure of any
Of
funds.
any funds of the club.
But it says by majority, the board of directors by
That's
the
just the
majority
board
vote.
of, that's just the board
Yeah,
of
okay.
directors. That's without going to the membership.
Yeah.
So,
mm. Yeah. Let's see. Well,
so now we're kind of splitting hairs about the discretionary account.
Could we in 921 say the board of directors shall by majority vote when a membership quorum is present, have the authority to authorize expenditure of any funds of the club?
It's,
But it has to be a majority vote of the,
or what if we even added in like the as defined in section 9.5.3 and then clarify in this section that it's, I think the wording can be a little better in this, but clarify it here and then just have it referred to that section, that it's the predetermined, like the
well,
miscellaneous $2,000 amount.
well, yeah, because 9.2.1 is pretty broad. We could all get together and say, let's spend all the money.
Let's do it.
Well,
All right. No, I see
We're
what you're saying. I think maybe on that one, maybe authorize the expenditure of the funds. All right.
What about that?
All right, and 953.
And then clarify down here. I don't know. I think that can use a
Well, but see,
little
all
more
right.
clarification.
But see, I was taking it too general, where any funds, then that's anything in the budget. I think
Oh,
y'all are looking at it more as discretionary, but the one up there before gives us the authority to spend what's in the budget, the way I read it.
Okay,
What,
Well, we can-
921?
so we can just,
See, 921, because I mean, if somewhere in there we don't have the authority to spend money, then we can't even spend money. The budget,
no, I understand, yeah.
yeah,
it
the
just-
budget's just a wish list until you have the authority to spend it.
But this is any
Well,
funds
what
of
if
the
we-
club, according to the
Some-
club budget.
What if we clarified it somehow and said the budget? That way it's any funds within the fiscal year budget.
So if we were to open up a CD, does that count as an expenditure?
No, that's a
No.
transfer.
No.
Transfer, yeah.
So does that fall under this fiscal affairs?
Yes, depository. Well, depository. No.
This.
Yeah, it's a deposit.
Yeah.
Sorry to get us off in another, let's go ahead and finish this and then we can think about the other.
That's a
I'll
good
say-
point. That's a good point. There's nowhere in there that we have the authority to even do a CD.
I mean, it says choose the depository.
I
It
mean,
is a
if you're-
deposit because the funds are still owned by the club, and expenditure, those funds,
There we
if
go.
you expend $100, then that $100 is owned by whoever you send it to.
All right. So 5.4.4, the treasurer shall maintain an interest-bearing savings account or certificate of deposits for the deposit of funds in excess of normal operating monies.
Okay.
That's fine. If you're okay with 9.2.1, that's fine. It's just that it was just.
I
just kind
see,
of jumped
I
out
see
at me.
your point about the hang up about any funds.
Yeah. Do you want to say any funds outlined in the membership approved budget?
That's a good way to word it.
That way, if it's already in the budget, then we're free and clear to do what we need
Or
to,
just
since
even
that's the
take the word
operating
any
budget.
out to say, of funds as specified in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, but the way it's reading is that the board can do it without the majority of the membership voting for it.
But if we're limited to what's in the budget, then the board, then the members have to approve the budget.
so they already approved it.
The board shall-
As outlined in the budget.
Okay, and I'm just, all right, because I'm even starting to question why that's in there, but the majority of the member of the board of the quorum, board of directors, if we got a quorum of the board of directors, if it's in the budget, then we can do something. So I would even say that gives us the authority. That's the main thing for that one would be, number one is discretionary fund, but number two, if we wanted to say that something, if we wanted to reclassify something in the budget, and we all agreed with it, then we were okay.
I have a question on 921. Why don't we take out any?
She
I think
did.
We just
that
did.
creates-
We just
that throws a
You
red
did.
flag up.
Yeah,
it
we
did.
did.
Yeah.
We did.
That jumped out at me.
We took it out, but I mean, it's implied. I mean, if you don't limit it, then it is.
Yeah, it's implied, but I think we need to take,
Yeah, just take it out. Yeah, like you said, that's a
Yeah.
red flag. I think that's what got Carolyn's radar up.
Yeah.
Taking it out takes that issue out, but it's implied. I mean, 'cause you're
Yeah.
not
I think
limiting funds.
What it said before about membership approved club budget or something like that.
I think it's inferred, implied, because it had to have been approved
Yeah,
earlier on, so,
I think we're good.
but if we could do.
All right. 9.2.1, the board of directors shall, by majority vote when a quorum is present, have the authority to authorize the expenditure of funds as outlined in the club budget.
Okay.
That's
Because the
fine.
way I see it, the budget is what we plan, and when we approve to spend it through the budget, then that's what we're doing in that section there.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna jump here real quick, if that's okay with y'all. So 9.5.3, the specific amount of the board discretionary account shall be reviewed and revised as necessary, at least annually at the board's January budget meeting. The board may review the account and make any necessary adjustments more often if it deems appropriate.
That sort of gives us a license. to
That does too, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, 952 is also open for a limited amount in the normal conduct of our business. It's the only limitation on 952.
What's the word? Not allotted, but
budgeted.
budgeted. Well,
allocated.
allocated. Would that help this some? With that first part?
I don't capitalize current fiscal year budget. When you capitalize something, you have to have it defined.
Yeah. All right.
Do we want to say approved current budget instead of proposed? Because we could propose a budget where we have $10,000 in the discretionary fund.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And go up and spend it, yeah.
I mean, because to me, this leans on the membership's trust of the board and the numbers that they put in and what they're going to use them for. So if we put that in there, they know we're going to use it for something appropriate.
I don't think you need the word current.
Yeah.
But
Let's leave it at that and see how it flies.
So what is the last sentence saying?
yeah,
We may review it to increase it because of a need.
well,
Which, if that's a change to the budget, would have to be approved by the membership, I think. Isn't
Yeah.
that what
Right.
decided?
I don't like the fact that only the board is mentioned in there.
All right, here's what I'm thinking. If we affect the bottom line of the budget, that may need to be, that I could see where that needs to be approved. But let's say like last year, we said, well, heck, we don't have anything for refreshments. We could take $300 out of refreshments and throw that over to something else. As long as if we're reallocating something into the discretionary fund, but we're not affecting the bottom line, then I don't see that needs to be approved.
I see.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've done that before, we've said, hey, look, because we budget so much, like one example would be, we budget so much for the Huntsville bus. Well, if it ends up being more than we think, but we haven't spent much in the repeater fund, and we'll say, hey, look, we can take some out of the repeater fund and throw it over into Huntsville and we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any reallocation, and if we need to even make that as a separate item, but I think we need to have the authority that as long as we don't affect the bottom line of the budget, we can reallocate categories within the budget.
Okay.
Does
Would
that
I
this
think
clarify?
necessary adjustments is reallocation.
right? That actually may need to be, not maybe not throw that on that one thing there, but that might be some. I would like the authority, or I'd like it in the bylaws that, hey, if we need to readjust the budget, a category in the budget, but we're not affecting the bottom line, then we don't have to get approval.
Right.
While I'm thinking about it, I'm throwing that out there. If y'all think that's something that we want to throw in there.
Would this work then? Creating section 9.5.4, the board may review the account and make any necessary adjustments more often if it deems it appropriate, so long as the overall budget is not amended or something.
Well,
to that effect.
but is that limited to the
It's not-
discretion? Is that limited to the discretionary account? Do we want to have it in this section, but do we want to phrase that one where we've got the authority? If we want to take money out of refreshments and throw it over to the Huntsville bus or something,
Yeah.
Like we could do this year or last year.
yeah,
And we haven't spent anything and
no,
I like reallocate way better than
Yeah.
adjustments.
What would that be called? Like a
Category.
Okay, so the board may review the account and reallocate funds
well,
among.
do we want to say the account or the budget? You're saying the account, which account?
Yeah, budget.
Yeah,
The board may review the budget and reallocate funds among categories if it deems it appropriate, so long as the overall budget is not amended.
The overall budget total is not amended. It's not
There,
changed.
okay.
yeah.
And then is this presented at the next membership
Not
meeting?
changed. The total budget is not changed.
And then do the members get notified of this at the next board meeting or membership meeting, or is it just?
That's not a bad idea.
It's going to be done in a board meeting.
In the minutes would record it.
Okay,
You're saying, Joe?
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah. Well,
What if we just said documented in the meetings minutes, or I mean, because if it's an action that happens at a board meeting anyway, any actions are supposed to be like the core basic of minutes are just that any actions that are done by a body have to be documented. So any votes, any whatever. So,
okay.
I mean, we could clarify it. It's not, I don't know. It never hurts to
good.
clarify.
Let's not muddy the waters.
Yeah. So it's good.
Right.
But I like that. That gives us that way. If somebody says, "Well, wait a minute, y'all got so much in
Mhm.
refreshments, but you added more to something else," and we can say, "Hey, look, we've got." I mean, everybody's worked on budgets where that's happened.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back and read through this since we made a couple changes. So 9.5.1, the purpose of the board discretionary spending authority is to allow the dark board the ability to spend a limited amount of money as defined in section 9.5.3 without any prior approval as necessary to conduct the business of the dark. 9.5.2. The dark board shall have the authority to spend a limited amount of funds as they see fit in the normal conduct of the dark's business. 9.5.3. The specific amount of the board discretionary account shall be reviewed and revised as necessary at least annually at the board's January budget meeting and allocated in the approved fiscal year budget. 9.5.4, the board may review the budget and reallocate funds among categories if it deems it appropriate, so long as the overall total budget is not changed.
I do
That covers-
952. I'm still, like we originally said, the limited amount. I'm a little.
Yeah, I agree.
Since the budget is already, once it's approved, then we're allowed to
we
use
need
those
it?
funds. Do we just
Mm.
want to kill 952
That's
out of here?
what I'm almost wondering.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Because, like Carolyn originally said, that's just a red flag. We can do whatever we want to the limited amount, but what's it limited to?
Did we change? So we said in 951, we said go to section 953. Did we change 953?
We sure did.
All right.
So now it's 952, right? 951.
Should have 953 referenced.
All right.
Good catch.
Yes.
He is awake.
Uh-huh.
He's just on a slow internet.
All right. Article
There's
10,
more things
Parliamentary
slow.
Authority. 10.1, Parliamentary Authority. 10.1.1, the rules contained in Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, shall govern in all cases to which they are applicable and in which they are not inconsistent with these bylaws. Kind of straightforward. And then
Is that the correct revision, newly revised? Is that the most current?
yeah. Well, so what that does, because that doesn't specifically mention, but like this is the 11th edition. So like
Right.
really you go off the most current one, but there's not many changes. But it is, yeah, Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. So that's what it goes under. Article 11, amendments to the bylaws. 11.1, amendment procedure. 11.1.1, any voting DARK member may submit a proposed amendment to these bylaws at any regular meeting of the DARK. Such proposals must be written, signed by 5 voting members of the DARK, and must be given to the DARK officer presiding at the regular meeting, who shall in turn give it to the president. (11.1.2) At the next meeting of the Board of Directors, the president shall present the proposed amendment to the board, which will then discuss it and recommend either adoption or rejection of the proposed amendment, including in the recommendation the reasons for adoption or rejection. A decision on a recommendation may be postponed until the next meeting of the board if the board feels that additional investigation is required. 11.1.3, at the first regular meeting of the DARK following the decisive meeting of the board, the officer presiding at the meeting shall present to the DARK the board's recommendation on the proposed amendment to these bylaws. The only action the DARK may take at this time is to set a date, time, and place at which a vote on the proposed amendment shall occur. 11.1.4, the secretary shall convey copies of the proposed amendment and supporting comments from its creators and the board's recommendations and comments on the proposed amendments to the DARK newsletter editor for to the DARK Director of Publications for incorporation into the next DARK newsletter. The newsletter shall also announce the date, time, and place of the vote on the submitted amendment. The same information shall also be given to the website manager for incorporation into the DARK website, and the DARK email list may be used to transmit the information by email. The meeting date for voting shall also be announced on all DARK nets prior to the voting meeting. 11.1.5, at the meeting of the dark at which the vote on the proposed amendment shall occur, a 2/3 majority vote of the quorum present in favor of the proposed amendment is required to adopt the amendment.
That's the procedure for the membership. So what is the procedure for us to change this then?
Same.
Saying we would be considered.
Well, I think
At this point, we're members
this is-
sending proposed amendments or changes to the bylaws.
Yes, I don't want to make that distinction. Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless
Okay,
we wanted one line to state that if a board of director wants to state it, they would do it as following the rules for a member. But I don't think that that's only I wouldn't want to have a whole set of rules for the board. If y'all think that's necessary, that could work.
now I like, we're working as members right now, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that sounds good.
Since it's not stated, that would kind of, I would see that would be implied. That's how we could do it.
Okay.
well, would it help? So looking at the old ones, would it help to just say proposed amendment shall be presented in written form at a meeting and then voted upon at the next meeting? Unless I just get that. Let's see.
While she's doing that, Mike, Richard Martin and Rick Tillman said they did not get an announcement of the newsletter.
Well, I guess this would do.
I like the workflow, I guess, that's outlined how we have it now. I know it's more broken out and it's a little more complex, but I like that it goes to the board of directors first for review and then recommendation to the membership, and then the membership takes that and decides, and then they have a full, essentially, month.
I think, well, this would actually be, it would stick with the 2-month process. So I guess this is just clarifying that it has to go through the board first. Because, yeah, that's more of what I was thinking. Because this says at the first meeting following the board's recommendation,
Mhm.
The only action they would take is to set a date, time, and place at which a vote on the proposed amendment shall occur.
Yeah.
And then
Which is most
it
likely to
goes
be our
out.
next membership meeting.
Correct. And then it goes out in written form between that month and the following month. And then it's voted on in the second meeting. So never mind. Forget what I said that I wasn't comprehending while I was reading. All right. That looks good to me.
Yep.
I know there's a couple of spots that we wanted to go back and review. But are y'all okay if we just send this out via email and we all just look over it one more time and then either set up another meeting or just cover it at the next board meeting as a final kind of review?
Is a lawyer going to look over this?
Well,
Yes,
that's going to be my question. Do we want to put it to the members first and then to the lawyer, or lawyer and then member?
give it to the lawyer first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then what if members make a change? Then we got to go. Then we have to go back.
So we can go back, but do you think they're gonna really make a change?
No.
Yeah, I would think lawyers would be the best next step then. So are we okay with it now, or do we want to discuss it one more time with Barry? Because there was a section down here we wanted Barry to look at.
I'll tell you what, let me do this. I think I've sent out all the recording. But Barry definitely needs to see this recording. I'll send out an email with a link for all the meetings that we've had. Let everybody review that, review this. And then let's maybe say that we'll, I don't really know that we need to do another meeting just for this, but let's say maybe at the next board meeting, either approve this or decide that we need to do another meeting before we submit it to the lawyer.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yep.
Works for me.
I've got all the, I may have not sent out the last recording of the last meeting that we did. I've got a feeling in the back of my mind I didn't. So I've got all of them recorded. I'll send the recording, the link, the way it is, the way I've got it set up on YouTube for these, it's what they call not listed. You can't, I don't think y'all can even see it on our YouTube page, but if I send you the link for it, you can pull it up.
Okay.
So let me do that on all of these. I tell you what, if you, Mary Jean, if you want to send out the final thing, and then then I'll use that, and I'll send out a link for if anybody wants to review what we've discussed on all of it. Does that work?
Yep, doing it now.
Okay. And I should have this. I'm not going to promise I'll do it tonight, but by tomorrow sometime I'll send out a link for all this one and all of them that we've done, and we'll make a decision next board meeting if we need to have one more meeting, or if we feel that it's ready to. Joe, we keep talking about the lawyer. Do we have somebody that we've talked to recently?
Jim Gallagher, who's in Fayette County, said he would do it several years ago.
Well, I know, but have we talked to him?
I haven't talked to him because I didn't want to,
Okay.
I can talk to him, I'll talk to him. I'll send him a note tonight.
Okay. If you don't mind, because if we don't, I'm sure we could come up with somebody.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather it be somebody to just do it as a favor for us instead of.
Yeah, Jim Gallagher was one of my students. He was Fayette County's attorney. We could probably get Perry Hayes to look at it.
Perry came to mind. Yeah, if he wouldn't, him or he might know somebody.
Well, I'll ask Jim Gallagher because he volunteered to do it.
Yeah, just say, hey, look, sorry it's taken us 3 years to do it, but we've done it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I don't see anything huge in there that, but you never know. I've submitted things to lawyers before and it's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Mary Jean, can you send me the
Yeah, I'm working on it now.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we've done it.
Wow.
Well,
it's not over till it's over, though. If it's got to go before the club, we could have somebody propose a lot. But yeah, hopefully this is the worst of it.
I mean, we might be surprised, but I think we've covered. I think having, because this is actually, because in giving credit to Ken Lassiter, he and Linda started this a few years ago, and I'll admit I kind of dropped the ball because we kind of got busy with some other stuff early on, but and actually it turned out good. I don't think that we would have put in place some of the things that we did after 2020, but I think 2020's pointed out any weaknesses that we might have had that we can know about now. So.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else? Do we want to talk any more? Mary Jean, do you want to talk some more about the shirts or anything? Or
We can if y'all want. All the reviews I was reading for the Cornerstone, because I know it was a much cheaper option than 511, seemed to be really good. They seem like that they hold up just as well as the 511 shirts. And I know I mentioned it to y'all. I have more experience with wearing the 511 shirts, so I figured. Well, I was gonna see if I could stop by and buy one of the Cornerstone just to try, but she said we could order one or whatever, so we're just gonna order one and should be in a day or so. And so I'll give it a try and wear it out to the field and see how it kind of holds up to, well, if we ever get over 80-degree temperatures, then I'll see how it holds up. And that way I figured there's two solid, there's two polos that we can look at when everybody is, assuming we're meeting in person in June.
But the 511 had the loops for microphone clip, right?
Both do.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
both do.
Cornerstone and 511 have, and that wasn't sure too if that, I probably didn't clarify that well enough. So both brands have the pin pockets on the left sleeve, the double pin pockets. Both polos have the mic clips on each shoulder, and then they have the mic clip spot right here. Both are made of polyester. So, it almost seems like they went and basically created a spinoff of the 511 performance polo, but I guess that's what companies do. So,
Well,
and
if they've got the pin pocket and the mic clips, that might be the way to go, because that's the one that had the color that was similar to what we've got, and it had the men's and women's, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, because I was even thinking like with colors, because I like the dark navy. I think it does look good, but I kind of wish that it was in a lighter color so it's not so dark. But because those dark colors really absorb the sun rays.
Sure do.
And it can get kind of hot. But of course, anytime you're out in the sun. But yeah, we've had 10, including some of y'all, who have emailed or said in the meeting that you're interested in the polo, and a couple have said that they'd be interested either way, but a lot of people said they were interested in 511. But again, that may be, if I didn't clarify it well enough, that both had the mic clips and the pin pocket. So
probably the Cornerstone probably comes from that company that has the wholesale warehouse south of Winchester. I forgot what the name of it is, but they have a lot of shirts and stuff. That's probably the reason why you can get it so quickly.
The parent company is Port Authority. I don't know if that helps, or are you talking about like a specific business warehouse?
It's a business that stocks several. I used to have the catalog and I threw it out because I hadn't done anything with it in several years.
It had a pretty short turnaround time too. Not that I'm trying. There's no way we're going to do it by field day, but we shouldn't. That would take a little bit more time if we do it before Huntsville.
I've had good luck.
The Port Authority is that company we get our uniforms from. So it's a large outfit that has many type of uniforms. So.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, both seem like good options. I know it seems like several no 511, but we'd have more options with Cornerstone. So I don't know.
Yeah, more options. Men's and women's, the colors, the turnaround time's quicker, and from what I looked at, if we rounded up the prices, it'd be about $5 cheaper. So.
Yeah. And that's the pricing. But yeah, so that's I don't know. I guess like I said, I'll test it out over the next couple weeks, wearing it out in the field for work, and or like out when I'm doing yard work or something. And if it doesn't feel like it's as good of a polo, then I'll certainly mention that. But if it feels like it could hold up, then it may be worth considering. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for your help on that.
Well, look at Mary Jean giving us curated shirt recommendations.
All right. Anybody? The main thing we want to do is bylaws, but Anybody got anything else?
Nope.
I think we're in good shape. Carolyn can go read her guest and
Yep, just in time.
just in time. Well, that's-
I'm gonna send an email out to the people on the bus trip list and ask them to send the $75 check made payable to Delta Amateur Radio Club to me.
Okay. Okay.
That way we get a jump on collecting the money.
Right. And I kind of spoke for everybody, but Joe was, Joe talked to me earlier this, I guess it was Monday or something, and he's not able to. He was hoping we could maybe get the bigger bus for the smaller bus price, but that's not going to happen. So we could be looking at Joe having to pay how much out of the club, even if we're doing 75, it could be $400 or so.
Yeah, hold on a second. It's 75. It'll be $200 to $300.
Okay, $200 to $300. So $300 or so, but we've done that in the past. We haven't had a lot of expenses. And I spoke up, if I wanted to say it now, I said, hey, let's do it this year. Try to keep the momentum going. But since it's been a losing thing for a couple of years, we can reevaluate it. But I hate to drop it this year since we've already brought it up and we've had a pretty cheap year and a half or so far this year. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth it for us to do that, and we can kick it down the can and look at it again next year based on how things look. But I tell you what, with gas prices, I think going up and everything else, I might start to decide $75 is cheap. So
That's true.
I paid $3 for gas the other day.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I will save this, and when I get the email with the final from Mary Jean, which I'm guessing is going to be pretty soon, tonight or early, as soon as I can tomorrow, I'll send a link for each one of the recordings if you want to review that when you're reviewing the final version. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.